You're all standing in the tallest tower of the place you know now as Gravenhold, in the northeastern sea called the Shigoda Sea. You have just watched a massive tidal wave of water crash down from a pillar that had been built up by the Lich Zenatha's magic. It crashed into the water and then flooded southward. Now, many of you know that to the south, along the edge of the sea, sit the cities Zigatred, Telandri, Toxendar, and Galbadia. Ixis is still in her wolf form. She's really beat up, but she's conscious. Your friend Webby is dead with his limbs curled inwards in the corner. Tali is dead. It's been a rough go of it. So, what is there anything you guys want to do in this tower before you begin your journey back?
There's no trace of her left, right? She's just like
Tali?
Yeah.
Oh no! It just pulled the life out of her. Her body's still there. Yeah.
Let's gather that armor. You said the armor was...
Yes. The pile of ashes where Zenatha once stood has. There's like cloth and like her cape that she's wearing and things like that are all lying on the ground. The armor is scattered around.
Is there any like personal items, like rings or anything like that?
Yeah. She has. There was 3 rings. She wore her wedding ring, and then 2 others. One with a garnet stone, and let me make sure I get this right. There was an obsidian stone in there too.
I'd like to do a con check to see what they are.
Okay. With the 12, you can tell that there is definitely some kind of a abjuration. There's an abjuration spell on it, of some kind, or held within it.
Or like if I touch it, it'll activate it.
No, it's there's some kind of it will require attune. I can tell you that it will require attunement to find out whatever it is.
Okay.
But yes, there is a spell on it.
I'll just walk it for later.
Okay, cool.
I'm gonna do the same on Tali. Just investigation for any personal items.
Korak goes through Tali's bag, and you find a lot of just her regular adventuring gear. There are some items I need to type out, and there's a list of magic items that I have that I will give. I can't believe I haven't done that yet, but yes, there's a fair set of items there. None of them are weapons of any kind. There's a cigar box.
I'll try to pocket what I can effectively.
Yeah.
And what I know...
you can probably sling her bag over your shoulder, no problem. Yeah.
I'll do that. And would I know, based on my history with her, because I don't know off the top of my head, would I know how she'd want her body to be taken care of if she died? Is that something we ever discussed or went through in the past?
Not in this lifetime.
Okay. How ridiculous is it to try and carry her body?
She's not very heavy.
Okay. I'll try to do the best of my ability to carry her with us then.
Okay.
I don't want to leave her.
Also, I should say, you do find in her bag, you find a picture of you and her with Kirk and Senjak and company. The same image you guys saw back in Harpcry when you were at that retirement home.
So you want to check Webby's body?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think it may be at this point you guys have turned and noticed that he's like dead.
Did we actually acknowledge it at all in the last
It never really, because we were kind of running down the clock at that point. We were overtime.
Combat, it's understandable.
Yeah. I ended with you guys watched the tsunami, and then I did the whole spider, the astral plane, the temple of the spider.
Why is that Mr. Webby clicking and said, "Oh no"?
Oh no! The reason that you guys notice Webby when Ixis actually walks over and like scuttles under him and puts him on her back, in her wolf form. There is a clattering from down a hatch. You hear some noise, some movement happening down a hatch nearby.
So we're in the same room that we battled in. We didn't like.
Yes. Yeah, there's a little. It's not hidden. It's a pretty obvious wooden hatch that comes up into this room. That leads to a ladder that goes down about 50 feet, and opens up into a larger room below. But looking straight down into it, you can't really see anything.
I think we should go down there, or should we go back the way we came?
Did we leave any of her followers alive? I don't remember.
None of the people in this room.
The dragon.
That never showed up again.
Where's the dragon?
Yeah. My mechanic for that really worked against me on that one. Okay, yeah. You climb down and you see there is a much larger room here. It looks like a big wizard's workshop. There's a lot of bookshelves filled with giant tomes, like an alchemist table. There's all kinds of potions lying around, half-finished pieces of metals. There's mirrors on the wall, but not scrying mirrors like you saw before, because they're actually reflecting the room. Some of these mirrors are kind of funny because you look into them and they're like funhouse mirrors. They'll make you look like really, really tall or really short or like wavy or whatever, you know. And then
So make the pastor time.
Hold on.
yeah, but nothing like. If you guys really want to look around, you can. But for the sake of time, I will say that there's not really much here. It looks pretty cleared out.
With a 12, what kind of mirror do I look into? Like,
You look at one that makes your face look really fat, and like your body looks really tiny. So you look like one of those the Funko Pop dolls.
Oh my god. I smile and then I look at my body and wonder why it's weird, and I remember I'm carrying Tolly in my back and I'm like, oh.
Oh.
And the fun is immediately
Oh,
taken
no.
away from my face.
With the 15, do I find alcohol?
Yes, you do.
Yes, I pocket it.
You pour it into your giant jug of it says water.
Do we see another door in this room? Or an exit?
Yeah, so there's a big like cut stone for these giant wooden doors that look like they probably lead outside. You open the doors, and disappearing into the fog in front of you, you see 8 people wearing wizard's cloaks of different colors.
You again.
Fuck.
And they are running, and they turn and see you and run faster.
So wait, they're running away from us?
Yes.
All right, Landis chases after them.
Okay, so they actually get far enough ahead of you before you can catch up to them that they do disappear fully into the fog. You briefly hear a couple of them shout something, and then you hear the sound of falling stone hitting snowpack specifically. And with your 23, you're able to quickly catch up with them, and you're standing in a group of 8 stone statues that look just like wizards. It's weird.
I'll dash in the direction Landis went to try and catch up with them eventually.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take a whole lot of time for you guys to like catch up. Especially, you know, I assume if you're running, you're probably dashing. So, you guys eventually catch up, and you find Landis standing in this semicircle of stone people.
They look
Stone
just like
statue. They look just like the people who are running away from you. It's super weird.
Arcana. That's 14.
This is a transmutation spell. I would actually like you to roll nature.
4.
Yeah, I help.
Yes.
Please God. That's a rock in it. Might have been a person.
We're always there. It's natural. Wow, failure.
Yowzers!
It's just ruined.
Well, 10's better than a 4, though.
Rock.
15.
15's good.
Poking on myself.
With a 15, this is you're probably confused as to why you're seeing this phenomenon here, and so it didn't immediately occur to you. But what you're seeing looks strangely like someone who's been caught by Medusa's gaze.
Yeah, I would,
Yeah.
yeah.
We need to get out of here.
Well, I think you guys maybe hear something nearby.
Kangaros, is that you? It's been so long.
So with the 26 perception, you heard a voice whispering the name Kandaros, like to your, let's just say to your right. And you look over and you see a Medusa wearing a headband, right? Like a blindfold. But hair snakes and everything. You see this Medusa standing nearby.
16 history. Do I know this snake girl?
Not even a little bit.
I would just look at her and go, hello.
Where have you been? I haven't seen you since long ago.
Would look at the party and then look at the body of my back and go, I've been busy.
Oh, I'm sure. Harpy's Herald. It's good to see you. And I come closer, and the pseudo dragon just goes into my arms, and I cradle it, kind of stroke it like a cat. Frumpkin has missed you too.
Frumpkin!
And I just let it fly over and rest on top of Korak's head.
You know this thing? I should, but I don't, which I'm sorry for.
Wait, are you saying that in character?
Yeah.
Medusa just gets incredibly depressed.
Huh.
That's disappointing.
I don't remember a lot, and only in the last few weeks have I learned about my multiple past lives. So, I'm not sure which life I'm on right now, but I clearly had one that you were involved with, but I don't remember.
What's wrong with... I'm probably gonna say this wrong. What's her name?
Leandra?
Guiaka.
Guiaka.
Yes, that. Yes,
Guiaka.
That one.
Is she alright? Why are you carrying her?
She's about as far as can be from alright. She's dead. Yeah. It just happened, in fact. It's pretty raw. Yeah!
As Eric's sitting in the corner giggling. It's pretty raw.
Ease it down.
I told you.
Sorry.
Serve it. Bitch shouldn't have sat.
I told her not to sit with us.
No, she did.
She sat at our table one time. One time.
You guys, this would have not happened if you guys didn't roll the dice.
Oh, man.
Who are your friends? Why are you here? Tell me.
We just killed a lich. Who was this fella's mom. Crazy story. But yeah.
Oh my. And my snake hairs just kind of hiss.
Oh,
They're like long
so
dreads.
creepy.
They're very kind of white, very albino in color. She's like a little bit of tan, like a little kind of copper colored, but just very beautiful. And despite knowing Korak as Kandaros, she doesn't look beyond her prime. It's just like she's stuck in this state.
I have a question, though. Is whatever happened to these wizards here, is it reversible at all? Just in case. Just wondering.
As I lean against one and knock it over and then crumble.
I just take out a quarterstaff and just trip them and let the heads fall. And
Okay.
is that
That's why I'm
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
Did you roll animal handling for the
pseudo
Medusa
dragon?
hair?
He
Landis-
probably did for the pseudo
Landis
dragon.
starts petting Danny's snakes.
Jesus Christ.
They kind of like hiss, kind of confused. Candaros, your friend. Otherwise, and I'm kind of like slowly, kind of like taking out the blindfold, just not knowing these people. I only know Kandaros, so I don't know if they're threats or if I need to stone some people right here.
This is Landis. If you can't even, just think how I've been for the past months with them. 14 on Arcana on the fog.
It's natural, but there's an air of conjuration about it.
Well, I think we should keep running, fellas.
Yeah. We get out of here.
Forget those statues. They're dead.
Ixis lets out a kind of a feral whine from her wolf form, and you guys look over and you see that she's kind of having trouble holding onto Webby's body because her wounds from the battle are kind of weeping blood a little bit.
Here, let me carry him for a while.
She like kind of leans down to let you take Webby off of her.
15 on medicine so that I can help her. I thought we were all healed up and help her with her wound.
15 you said?
15.
So with a 15, you put a bandage on. You're kind of treating it like you would normally treat like a kind of wound like that, because it's a stab wound from where that first knife went in, the bandage, you put it on and it sort of starts to bleed through pretty quickly again. You try sewing it up. The sutures dissolve and the wound opens up again. and you're having a lot of trouble.
Maybe glance over at
Yeah.
Rory. Seeing this, Rory? Our cleric of the group.
Cleric.
Nothing
cleric
seems to be
stuff.
working here.
I didn't want to say anything, but I was thinking we should have somebody in our group, that can take care of some stuff.
Only they were a class. That was-
Only some sort of healer.
Kind of in this moment when you guys are taking stock again, and sort of, this I'll just say this air of loss kind of washes over you guys. There's a golden, like this golden chaff kind of like appears in the air around you. Sort of a melody that plays out in the air very lightly, and a beam of light comes down into the middle, and there stands Axel in his resplendent white robe.
Justice.
Your friend. In keeping with the wacky openings that we have where people just join, player 3 has joined the game,
It's like the Bifrost opening
Axel
or
is back.
something like
Yeah,
that.
pretty much. It looks like Thor coming out of the Bifrost.
Do we know where we are in the world?
You recognize the tower because it's like a place that your mom talked about. And you're pretty well versed on the world and geography. So I would say, yeah, you've got a pretty good idea where you are. And you know that the way out of here is through the Path of Graves.
I call for Galley.
Strangely, your Stone of Far speech chirps for a second. You hear Gally's voice say, "Hey, what? But
We are in Gravenhold. Come get us.
And then there's like a faint static sound coming from your stone.
And then you'll be saved.
Does the Phantark have any healing powers? At least? A god?
More like a warden, domain warden, would be more akin to what Axel is at this point.
Got
Dude.
that little hand pouch thing, don't I? From a long ass time ago.
Oh yeah, he had his He had this. It was a cloak with the tassel. There was these tassels. Oh man, I forgot all about that. He had this healing cloak that could store up HP. He could choose to put some of his own HP into the cloak and store it up, and then it could like give it out to people if they touched it. And then when they would touch it, he'd turn around and say, "Who touched me? I felt some power go out of me."
I guess I'll roll perception on where we're standing, trying to determine if should we just make camp at this point.
If it helps, when Axel came crashing down to Earth, you all had a destiny moment where you went, and your health is full and your spell slots are back.
Okay.
You've essentially undergone a long rest without having to rest.
Coming down on a
You're
common
welcome.
fireplace.
Don't ever say I don't
Yeah.
contribute anything. So hard.
Is this-
I do.
This been in combat, we can make him go and come back. It's just,
What were we talking about?
Get out of here. Do you want to carry the dead all the way? Or
yeah, I'll try.
do we bury them and say some words and then move on? What would Tally want?
I don't know, according to our DM. Am I in an encumbered state
No,
by carrying her?
not right now.
Okay. So I would do what Tali would do to me, which is if battle happens, I'm just going to drop her dead way. But until then, I'll hold on to her.
Or you keep carrying Webby too until we...
I say he probably wants an ocean burial.
He's getting the cloak.
How quickly we're like...
I'm like, I have all this wizard swag, and you guys aren't picking it up.
Out of respect for Webby.
With gin,
A gin item. Yeah.
Oh, jeez, yeah.
yeah, there's a lot. You guys should.
So who's going to carry his gin item? We roll for it.
Yeah, I'm rolling for that gin item.
Which one?
Oh no, we're rolling dice. Eric, are you good?
How long were you waiting for that one?
Nat 20 bitch! Yes!
So what? He has the choice of the hourglass or the rain, right?
You have
Mhm.
These
two
were the
items.
only two that I had.
Landis is taking the fish.
Oh. Please don't eat my fish. Please don't eat
He says he'll take care of the fish, which could be good or could be ominous, depending on.
I swear, I will come back as an astral ghost and haunt your ass.
Yeah, here we go. Holy shit, you did have a lot of stuff. Oh my god. You had the hourglass, the cloak of displacement, which I have. I have the beast. Pondfish, ring of gin, stone of papa, jars of beast, carpet of flying, sending box, 3 toothpicks of banishment, Everis, weather gizmo.
It's basically, it's like a little walk-in, like refrigerator. It keeps things cool.
Oh my god.
That's why I was able to preserve all
I've
this
been
shit.
playing this game wrong. Paired scrolls, papers of unknown potions, Ped's name tag.
Yeah!
Teleport paper, wanted paper of himself. Book of Phantom Turk. Frozen mimic ice cubes. Big painting, which is worth 250 gold points. Monster jerky, seagull, scholar's pack, spellbook, backpack, book of lore, ink pen, 10 parchment paper, little bag of sand, a small knife, magic wand, wizard hats, and approximately 9,860 gold points.
That's a lot of gold.
God damn it. Webby was a fucking hoarder.
My only regret is I should have bought more healing potions when I was in town.
I'm just going to throw it out there. I have it in writing, according to Danny on Discord. Mr. Webby would have wanted you, Korak, to have it all. So, I'm just throwing that out there. I will go to court if we have to for this.
Well, I mean, if possession's 9/10 of the law, Landis technically is carrying Webby right now.
Oh!
This isn't America, this is El Sira.
So, are you guys gonna keep walking?
Yeah.
I'm just checking else to try and figure out where we're at. Alright, yeah, you continue walking into the entrance of the Path of Graves. There's a dirt path that you can follow currently.
We're heading south now, right?
You're going north.
Oh, we're still going north.
Yeah. You're just beginning. just getting out of Gravenhold right now. You can still see the tower behind you, sort of.
Is this an abandoned place, pretty much?
The Gravenhold?
Yeah.
It is now.
Okay.
As the last 8 living wizards abandoned it.
But somehow Medusa was here.
It was a lively place.
Yeah, you get the impression that she was on her way out there to find something. Yeah, you come up to your first clearing. There is a stake in the middle of 7 different rocks. I'm sorry, not 7, 14 rocks. There's 14 stones in the middle of this, like, sort of, I don't want to say clearing because there's no trees around, but the fog sort of clears up enough and you see there's 14 stones standing in a circle. And there's a stake in the middle of it with a tiny little white flag on it. You guys have the option of turning left or right from this junction.
Investigate that flag.
It's a very, very old flag.
History check of 10. Know anything about this area or about any traps or beasts or lore about the place that we're in?
There's not a ton known about this place because, as far as anyone knows, the only person who ever ventured out here was a man named Paccard. Paccard.
Did you make it back or?
No, he disappeared. He made a journey out here and never came back.
Are there any symbols on this old flag? Can I
On
roll
the flag?
Can I roll history to see if it has something?
That
Oh,
are-
that's going to be a 16 on history.
Yeah, you're pretty sure that this is like just based on how old you are and how old you know this tale to be. You're pretty sure that this is like a flag that would have been put here by Paccard, the man.
Medusa, what do you know of this place?
Belong to Paccard.
Paccard.
So Paccard traveled here but never came back, from what we know.
Yeah, so the story goes.
So if we follow these flags, maybe we'll die like he did.
Are we going the same direction as him or are we going the opposite direction?
That's a good point.
We're trying to get out.
Do I need to roll anything looking at this fog? Can I get an advantage with elevation against it?
You don't know how high up it goes. So let's say the sky is kind of that weird blue light, and so it's hard to tell how
Give
far
us a
up
lay
it
of the
goes.
land, nice and frumpkin up, flying in See if I can find my cave.
Frumpkin actually looks, instead of going up like you asked it to, it actually looks over at one of the stones. There is a thing on the stone. There's a thing written on the stone. From where you're standing, you can't read it, though, because there's a lot there.
I get
I mean,
closer
there's
to...
There's a lot there, you guys.
Holy sheets. I get closer to try to read and learn what I can.
Do you want to read it out loud, or would you like me to?
All that?
Yeah!
How big is the boulder?
It's a big. If they're like big, like lodestones.
Oh my god.
Like
So Axel's back.
Waystones? Is that what
There's
it's
stuff
called?
written on rocks.
Yeah.
I don't like where this is
To
going.
all
think
you
lodestone might be
who
like a
stand
small
here
thing.
this day,
I'm thinking
Hear
like
the
those big, like
tale of
waystones you
Paccard.
see in like they're like.
who travel this way, find within your advice to continue on, for this tale is recorded for you only once hereon. Paccard's journey here was of adventure best, and when he made his discoveries, he took his much-needed rest. Rest he did, and contemplate his path, for not once had he seen sign of a genie's epitaph. One thing Paccard sought above the greatest treasure was to learn the truth of those who disappeared without measure. Must now we look to corners far and tundra frozen? Always pushing, Paccard knew this as the path he had chosen. Travel for him was a feat of no real testing. His skills had gotten him this far, and he continued on with little resting. West from which he had come bore many elvish peoples, but the night-skinned elves here like to hide, bandishing needles. To them he offered goods or trades. He found them quite thankless, and even after some time he did sour at their frankness. Avoid them he did whenever he could, as their demeanor spoke of little good. The elves left Paccard alone most of his journey, until one stormy night a group of them saved him from a flurry. Night they wore upon their skin, their speech was twisted but regal. One of them explained to old Paccard that their people were in an upheaval. Should our adventurer have turned his back away, we may never have known these new cultures. Paccard shared what he knew, and they showed him protection from vultures. Turn the adventure took, with his new friends throughout the days, through the threat from their own home left a path of graves. To his credit, old Paccard struck to his life's goal, and he asked the dark elves if they'd ever meet a genie's soul. The elves, though secretive, told him the winding tale. Right under his nose lay a long history to his grail. Darkness may have swallowed them once upon a time, but they left their magic all around to help and give a sign. Comes to Paccard now, in the midst of his tower of stone, this finding of his keep of graves, he now left for the elves' old home. From friendship and loyalty born of hardships true, Paccard and his team set out in search of adventures new. The trek was long, dangerous, and cold. With the help of the elves, they went to seek more than just gold. Left to their travels, the explorers moved quickly. No time for grand speeches, Paccard thought quite prickly. Where, said he, his orientation was errant, something he'd said before, first words are most important. Lives changed for the better in the face of Paccard's passion. The elves were railed and wanted to return home after a fashion. The thought of gaining knowledge kept their band moving. The long road to get them there kept them hard at proving. Under stone and ice the elf cities lie, and Paccard with his hardy crew hardly missed the sky. Dark much crowding all around their number, they found the native people deep in a slumber. 3 years Paccard spent searching for his answer, and the key of the Dijon ate him like a cancer. Turns his mood took as he grasped at empty books. His elfish friends did all they could, and cast him furtive looks. More and more did the old man bear to suffer. His humiliation only quickened, his resolve tougher. Your part here, oh dear reader, is to know our elves' leader, life is full of knowledge and superstition, and this we give to you, our greatest commission. Be you cautious to find his resting place. We bid you stop, leave, and go in grace. Struck whether by a melody, a weapon, a curse, Paccard would warn you to heed every verse. Out of his own mouth he would give you a word, and it would do him a disservice if we thought you hadn't heard. Like all things in life, even good things must end, just like old Paccard when he thought he would mend. A good soul for certain, he would wish you no harm, but now that he's gone, you have cause for alarm. Spark a light in the dark and wake something dormant. Remember, Paccard's best advice, the first words are most important.
Sounds like the Underdark.
Sounds like Paccard was looking for gin as well.
Looking
So
for
that
gin.
he gathered. And some dark elves were helping him.
He found some drow, and almost sounds like he went to the Underdark or something.
Sounds like a treasure hunt for a tomb that we just got out of. Oh.
My first thought is that maybe every first word will form a sentence. The first words are most important.
Spark a light in the dark and wake something dormant. Remember Paccard's best advice. The first words are most important. There's a number in the first words, which is 3.
What language is it written in?
In common.
So if I got this image in my mind correctly, we're in this middle of a circle of standing stones.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
14 of them.
Mm-hmm.
In the middle of them is that white flag.
Yes.
Left.
What?
Left with
Maybe
one.
we should talk about it first, Aaron.
Well, it's 50-50, and one of the first words was left. That's what I'm saying.
It also talks about him going west.
But not anymore.
I think we should
Good
rest.
player here.
What's that?
It literally says, rest he did and contemplated his path.
So you're
Word
suggesting
for word on the stone. It says rest.
So you're suggesting we don't do anything? Is that correct?
No, I'm suggesting we...
You could have been here
You never
before.
know, we might have some
Take a
crazy
short
dreams.
Could.
For, it says right here, for not once had he seen sign of a genie's whatever epitaph. Well, a genie might pop out in the middle of the night.
Aren't
Are you really being racist against dark elves right now, too? Is that what I'm reading?
I was thinking find the dark elves.
Yeah, they're gonna be on the path.
It says
somewhere.
avoid them he did whenever he could.
Nice.
It was a different time back then.
It was different, alright.
Just
He's
noting.
old-fashioned, okay?
So what's the first sentence saying?
To all of you who stand here this day, hear the tale of Paccard who traveled this way.
Is that the first verse?
It's a
He
first
said in-
sentence.
Because he said in the ending, like, to
The first
to
words.
heed the. Oh,
First words, I think.
okay, not.
If you go
So
down
never mind.
those first words.
The first words are most important. Okay, so you have all the first words, right?
You have the
Yeah.
first words.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't? Well, let's rearrange them until they make sense.
Oh god. Jesus.
What have you got so far?
To Packards on travel to the should to darkness from left flag
Left!
under 3 more be like.
What is Landis doing? I'm actually really surprised here.
The only thing I would say, and this might just be completely stupid, his journey starts somewhere else. Isn't this where he ended up? So wouldn't we want to go backwards in the directions?
So we
Just
should
open
left.
backwards?
I'm still. Korak's like walking in slow motion towards the left fork. You're go left.
Do the
Totally
first
split the
word
party.
Every paragraph or every sentence?
Every paragraph.
If we go backwards,
14 of them?
like the hour,
14 actually.
more 3. Nope, it's bullshit.
1, 2.
What if we walk back?
Because he started from another
Walk
area.
backwards to the
and
left.
Let's walk backwards from the way we came.
Maybe 3 of them instrument.
It's like this image of Axel and Gob have like an abacus and they're writing shit down. Like, well, maybe, and we're over here like walking backwards. Like, if we walk backwards, we'll go back in time before Zenatha.
What I remember from these maps is that there's several of these along the Graven path.
Yeah.
There might even be 14 of them.
There might
Is
be
it dark
14
outside?
flags.
No, it's like
Lost.
it's daylight right now.
Spark
We're in the
the
fog.
light in the dark.
But we're in fog, right?
Wake
it's 14
something
points.
dormant.
Oh.
Ooh. Oh, we're on something now, guys.
I think Landis just burned everything up.
What do you do? Fireball?
Wouldn't know.
Fireball. I think that was
What are you casting it at exactly, Landis?
What?
Hey, I got it! Sorry, Chris, I figured it out. I think. Go ahead. You go first, though. Actually, no. What are you doing?
You definitely go first.
Okay. Okay, listen to this shit, you guys. Okay. To find Paccard's Rest, one must always travel west. To avoid the night, one should turn
Oh, the first verse in
to
every.
the darkness. Somebody write this down. Wait, to the right, to the right, to the right! Darkness comes from the left. Oh my god, you guys. You thought I wasn't going to do anything today, didn't you? Darkness comes from the left. Where lives the Underdark? The Underdark.
Mm-hmm.
3 turns more. Your life be struck. Ha! Out. Oh. Like a spark. Right?
Well done, Eric.
Let's go to the dark.
Let's go to the dark.
So we're gonna go right?
So we're gonna go right.
Yeah, let's go right.
Okay.
Should we read it one more time just to be sure? Okay, somebody actually write it down.
Darkness lies to the left, right?
Okay. To find Paccard's Rest,
This is what we want.
one must always travel west.
So that's left.
Oh, fuck.
So
To avoid the night, one should... Wait, to avoid
Oh, was it each
the
sentence?
night,
Oh,
one should
the first word.
turn...
I was going each paragraph.
Yeah.
To be like how you're thinking, just the single every first word on the at the beginning
To
of
the
the
right.
page.
yeah,
That
so
would
we
be
don't want to
crazy.
find Paccard's Rest.
Well,
Otherwise,
it
we'll be
says in
dead.
here if you do want to find it.
No, we don't,
Oh, we don't?
because he's dead.
I should note that
That'd be
Paccard's
some
Rest
shit.
is an actual like climbing town, just outside of the city of Kessenhall.
They
No,
probably
they're
got
truckers.
taverns and shit. Still there.
Don't like
They have
accent
one
right.
Paccard's Rest is a real place.
So we're going left or right?
So they say to find.
Okay, find Paccard's Rest, turn left.
Turn west. Right?
And west is left, right? We're all in agreement.
That's correct.
Cool!
So you were right!
Did I see it?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
all that matters.
But wait, what's to the right?
I don't know.
Continue on the
Send
journey?
Scrumpney, what was it called?
His name is Frumpkin.
Frumpkins. Send Frumpkins.
Alright, see you guys later. I'm gonna go left.
You guys turn left. Out of here, you begin traveling. You walk for a while, probably like a few hours. You don't really
Jesus.
see anything of note. And you notice that as you're walking, if we say that like you guys began this day in like the early morning, like you defeated Zenatha in the early morning, you begin walking for maybe like 3 or 4 hours, and you notice that it begins to get a little bit dark. But eventually the path turns up and you continue traveling north. Like you travel west for a little while and then you start traveling north. And the fog gets a little more dense and it gets a little bit harder to see. And eventually you come into another clearing of stones. There's 13 stones this time.
Is there a flag?
There is a flag in the center.
There's one
Yeah.
less stone this time.
There's one less stone,
Okay.
and again you have the option when you continue out of here to go left or right.
To avoid the night, one should turn to the right. And you just said
Good enough for me.
started to get dark as we were approaching this area.
That's what I was gonna ask. Was this dark or is it just heavy?
It's starting to get dark.
Okay.
Okay.
Turn right.
Yeah. We'll go right. You guys think so?
Okay, so you turn right.
Yes.
All right, now that's fine.
Which way did we come from?
You go right this time, and you walk for another couple hours, and you don't notice any lightning of the world, but it doesn't get any darker. And eventually, you come to another set of stones. There are 12 this time.
Okay, so now we turn left, right?
So the darkness lies to the left.
Yeah, we might want to go right again. The darkness comes from the left.
And I believe it says, where lives the Underdark. The Underdark is where the Dark Elves came from,
Yeah.
initially. Tali was a Dark Elf.
So I guess that's the question. Do we want to go to the town and rest, or do we want to go to the Underdark and talk to the Underdark?
We could be missing mind flayers, guys.
We are well
We have
rested.
all of Webby's stuff.
Would you like the skin of a displacer piece?
Look at all his goodies.
We grow those on trees down here. Get out of here with that shit. Was that a spoon? Oh, give me that.
Do we
What do you call
know
it? Oh, yeah.
in this instance of D&D, are the drow hostile to outsiders?
The drow that you've met, I mean, they'd be like any other people, where they can be super dicks, or they can be really cool and sweet like Tali.
Okay.
But there was a time when they weren't in the world, and the only place that they were seen was in a place called the Underdark. And people, the Dark Elves who lived there, were not nice people.
Trying to figure out, maybe just based on my experience with Tali, then how much I know about if she knew anything about the drow on this side of the world, and I'm also curious if the drow would want their own to be returned.
You're not aware of any like burial rituals that the drow people of the Underdark have. You don't recall anything from this particular life, and it's really hard to. You're like since like at this point you know that there's like other lives that you've lived with her. But again, like as you're trying to you're really trying to concentrate and think, and you feel that kind of band in your mind. Your mind is expanding against it, and it's not hurt, like you're not taking damage from it, but it's sort of akin to getting like a headache as you're really trying to do this. There's something that's keeping you from recalling that kind of information.
19.
19 on history for Dark Elves?
Yeah, over in this area.
You know that people who travel out here usually don't come back. You obviously were able to make it to the end of the Path of Graves, so that's saying something. But it wasn't really to you. Wasn't a challenge to get out here, right? Like you kind of just got out here,
Naturally.
and then ran into a bunch of wizards. Your history with this place, your personal history with this place isn't much, and from what you know from your time in the world is that generally people don't come back, and you take that to mean that the elves that live out here are pretty hostile, and have been for some time.
It does say they helped Paccard, right?
What did he have to do? Sell his soul or what?
That's a good point.
Give up his life quest to return home.
That's all.
Done.
From what we can tell, it's almost kind of like a necrotic spell. That's a part of Vixis's wound.
Yeah.
Since I have a pact with Garrisel, the Undying, and I'm among the dead, I can spare the dying, and basically if undead creatures attack me, they can't hurt me. Can I try to roll medicine on this to get a better idea of is this even something that we can heal, or do we need to find somebody very special to get rid of this necrotic damage?
I would personally have you roll Arcana.
Okay. 24 or 22.
Okay, so 24. The clearly the knife that was used to hurt Ixis was part of some kind of a sacrificial ritual. You remember that when she was injured, there was that plume of black smoke that came out of her wound, and into the crystal that eventually Zenatha came out of. And she continued to bleed black smoke until Zenatha turned to ash, and now she's no longer bleeding black smoke, but this wound won't heal up. So it's ritualistic, it's necrotic, and as far as knowing what to do about it, you've personally never come into contact with something like this.
We can just go right. Is that what we're looking at? Because if we go left, we're going towards the drow. Maybe we should do what he did in the story, which is be a big racist dude and avoid the dark people.
Racist.
I missed what Chris said.
Chris said go left because because something.
Well, that's what it's saying here, to go towards the drow.
This thing is giving you two options.
Wait.
Why don't we split the party?
Wait, the drow worship spiders, don't they?
They do.
Dude, what if we trade Webby's corpse for safe passage?
Yes!
We already got all his goodies.
What could go wrong?
Oh my god.
Super down for that.
Oh my god.
Super down.
We decided, right?
Sounds good to me.
Sorry, spider.
Oh.
Unless they're aligned with it, for all I know.
Let's go left.
I say we go left.
Alright.
Are you leaving all the gear and treasure on the court?
Oh,
No.
They can just have an Ettercap body.
Yeah, they've probably never seen an Ettercap before. We're gonna blow their mind.
New party
Wow,
goal.
what a wild.
Have a dead party member. Let's give it to the natives.
We can trade bodies, guys.
Don't kill
A
us.
whole
Here you
new,
go.
a
Here's
whole
a
new idea
splitter.
to body swap.
Should we try to like reanimate it?
Oh my god.
Oh!
Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Oh no! Oh
I mean,
no!
we do have a fancy new spell I need.
Eric, what have you done?
I totally forgot. Hold
Oh,
on.
no.
Totally forgot.
I just
no.
giggles. I have a bunch of good luck points I can give you guys.
I'm like
We can
watching.
get this
I'm
shit
watching
right.
my session plans.
He's an exoskeleton. You guys know how creepy that is?
Oh my
Okay.
god!
He's gonna be like
Okay.
sloshing around
Okay.
inside.
Okay, is it night? It's
It's dark-ish.
We went
I'm
right
pretty sure that
before
means
the
it's night, right?
What is this? What is this that you're doing? I'm very curious.
So my Mystic Arcanum that I've been sitting on for 2 levels now is Create Undead.
Fuck.
Oh,
You can cast a spell only at night. So, that's up to you.
We just sit around and wait.
Choose up to 3 corpses of medium or small humanoids within range. Each corpse becomes a ghoul under your control.
Cool spider. You're not gonna do on Tolly, are you?
Maybe later. Forget all that noise. We'll just go left and not do all that
Okay.
crazy shit.
You're traveling left. You go left. You travel for a couple hours. While you're traveling, the sky gets a little darker again. You're at the point where you're in kind of low light, but it's not totally dark. You're like late evening before night really hits, right? The sun hasn't quite set, kind of lighting. You can't see the sun. You don't know where it is.
There's still a little light.
You walk into a set of stones. There are 11, and your stone of far speech chirps. So you hear this voice says, "Hey, can you guys help me out here?
Oh god.
Can you help me?"
It's not Galley's voice.
It's not Galley's voice.
God damn it. I'm the F5 out of this puzzle.
You're phoning this. New stone.
Couldn't Axel just bifrost us out of here? Just the way he came?
Yeah, you all go back to the realm of song, and now you're there.
What did the stone say again?
Oh, there was someone asking, "Hey, can you help me out? Can you help me out here?
What do you need?
I need to get out of here."
Where are
Same
you?
here. Can you get me out? Can you help me?
But where? How? Who? Yeah.
Just as lost as you.
Well, you gotta turn left. See, I turned right a bunch. I'm still like wandering out here.
Okay, turn that off. What's your name?
I think you know who I am, Axel.
Oh, Jesus.
I have a lot of people calling me, so speak up or shut up. Because we don't have time for this.
Well, see, just every time that people come out here, I tell them where I am, and they get freaked out, and then they get lost, and they die. I haven't been able to get out of here.
This Paccard?
Good guess, Korak. Nicely done. Can you get me out?
How long do I know off the top of my head without rolling anything how old this tale of Paccard is?
It's like 400 to 500 years old.
Okay.
It's very
This
old.
dude lying. He's probably got like ulterior motives involving touching us or something. Let's
Let's leave.
Bring it out.
Sense Arcana. Maybe nearby the voice, see if it's magical in nature or something like that.
Wait, what?
Wasn't Malachi one of the Jinn? Is this another Jinn?
Oh,
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Damn, with this insight, dude. You have no reason to believe that this voice is telling you the truth.
Okay, so I was just trying to see if this guy was telling the truth or not, and what I can glean from listening to him. Should we trust this guy or not? Because I feel like probably not is being meta, but what would Landis pick up on insight there?
I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to say because all you're doing is listening to a voice. But the fact that it told you that it's the voice of Paccard, and you know that Paccard was a human.
Mm-hmm.
Humans don't live 500 years.
Yeah, I say we nope the fuck away from this guy.
So you guys turn left.
Wait, he was telling us to go right?
He said he went right and he's been there forever. But then if he's being dishonest, should we be going right then?
Yeah, he's trying to tell us to go left. Right?
Hey, Paccard, should we go left?
You guys don't believe me, do you?
Someone be deceptive here, whoever has good deception, and ask him where we need to go to get to him.
It's a 24 deception. Paccard, I want to help you, man. It must suck to be stuck here for as long as you have been. Which way should we be going?
You guys decoded the stones, right? It says turn right.
No, we've just been flying by the seat of our pants.
Well, it says turn right.
And you went right?
I'm stuck out here. I'm in nowhere now.
How do we come get you? Which way do we go to come get you?
Well, your path will lead you to me if you're going the right way.
Even if we find this guy, I'm looking forward to killing him because I really don't like him.
I'm good going left, yeah.
Left.
You turn left.
We're coming to get you, bud.
You turn left. You travel for a while. The world becomes dark, and you get to a set of 10 stones. There is no flag.
Huh.
There's a torch. And when you step into the circle, you turn looking for your way out. There is no left, there is no right, there is no way back.
How big is this flame? How hard would it be to extinguish it?
What are you doing?
I'm gonna unfurl my wings and just try to just stamp it out.
Okay. Yeah, you're able to put it out. It burns you a little bit. You take no damage, but it does hurt.
Okay.
when you put it out. You take fire damage.
So nothing immediately happens.
So nothing immediately happens. You're standing there. You've all lit your torches. You're standing around this circle,
Okay.
and your stones of far speech crackle to life again, and you hear,
Oh, jeez.
"Gotcha!" And the ground crumbles out from underneath you,
God.
and you fall.
Oh, jeez. Korak was carrying Talia as he
Yeah.
fell, and then
Yeah. And,
Landis was carrying Mr. Webby.
yeah.
Well, my wings are already unfurled, so...
You all hit something on you fall down. You sort of pass out for a second.
Even me?
Even you.
Even though I can fly?
It took you. It really took you by surprise.
Also, you're carrying someone.
Yeah, as I say, also, that's a good
Yeah.
point. Is taking her off of my back to unfurl my wings is probably a whole ordeal.
Yeah. You wake up on a mountainside with a giant sheet of ice above you that extends for miles and miles and miles. And you are looking down into a valley. You can see the sparkling of torchlight from what looks like a nearby city. This is I just can't really impress this enough. It looks like you're standing outside, except for the fact that you have a roof over your heads.
So that's the we're looking out, the open to the cave, you see the lights down below?
Yeah.
That's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
Nothing behind us, it's just a wall.
You're standing on the peak of a mountain.
Oh, okay.
I think we're in the Underdark, guys. Underdark.
Do we still have Tolly, Webby, and Ixus?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, they're the two bodies in the live dog are with you.
Arcana check
on.
Where we're.
Oh,
Magic
I
everywhere.
mean, yeah, this is the Underdark.
Okay.
This is absolutely the Underdark.
I guess we'll go say, hey, what's up? Fell into it.
Yep, you head down the mountain. It's actually a really easy trip down the mountain, surprisingly, considering. I would put it akin to your time in the astral plane when you were trying to come down this mountain to get to that lake of silver.
Okay.
The only difference being that the city does actually move closer towards you as you're moving down. There's no trickery this time. You can see the lights of the city in the distance. And you see some really well-worn cart paths and things like that would lead you into the city. There's no traffic coming in or out of the city.
Are there like lights in the city?
Yeah.
Is that what
Yeah, like torches are lit along this wall, and there's like torches lit on tops of buildings.
Can we see if the entrance is like open? Just wide open?
Yeah, the portcullis is open.
Are there any watchtowers?
No people.
There's watchtowers, but nobody signals as you approach.
Is there any noise?
No.
So are we gonna animate Webby or what?
There's some really bad things that could happen if you guys do that.
So let's do it.
I'm just imagining Roran, the cleric of nature, standing next to the warlock of death, who's like, let's reanimate this guy. And you're like, yeah! And then you do it, and Plutt's like, bro, what the fuck are you doing?
Down in that water jug.
Instead of saying water, just has 3 X's on it.
Yeah.
Sally is from here.
I don't. That's not.
She is one of them.
Just because she's a drow doesn't mean she's from here, guys.
Yeah,
Come on.
reanimate her.
That's racist.
You guys walk into the city, and there's a large you weren't able to notice it when you were up on top of the mountain, but as you've gotten to a point where there's some like lights kind of behind it, that's what do you call that? Silhouetting it. There's a really large tower that actually stretches all the way up to the ceiling of this cave. It looks pretty ornately carved. Looks like almost like the stalagmite and the stalactite eventually grew and met, and then was carved into an actual like tower of a sort, standing in the center of town. And as you walk through the gates, you run into a giant pile of human skulls.
Cool.
Neat.
Who's here? Is a human?
Could I roll investigation to see if there's any damage on these skulls?
Yes.
What was that? 19?
I mean, they're just like skulls. Look like they sat there and rotted away until they're just the skulls were left.
Like how huge of a pile? Like
It's big. It's big enough to be notable.
Well, you can do illusions, right?
Yeah.
If they don't like humans, maybe should be.
Skeletons.
There's no people around, right?
No,
Or
there's
nobody
humanoid.
Can we like investigate the town? Like, it looks
Yeah,
like not run down or
yeah. I mean, it looks in fairly decent upkeep, but there's nobody around.
Is it kind of like it's light enough where it just feels like we walked in at nighttime or something? Or...
Yeah, because there's no light down here, right?
No, the only light there is from the torches that are lit around.
Oh, should we just call out or what? Hello!
Yeah, there's an echo as you guys call out, and a couple seconds of silence, and then you hear, "Stay where you are."
You got it.
As a contingent of dark elves walks around
We are not rule breakers here.
the pile of skulls, and they're all very sharp, severe features on their face. You recognize like just general dark elf features. Like, I mean, let's face it, Korak is a thing for dark elves, right?
Yeah.
That's a thing.
Yeah.
You definitely like can recognize some of these features on their faces. Not that like they're related or anything, but more like, I don't know.
Would
Am I
do.
being racist here?
look
Like,
like-
say that?
So Korak just stepped into his favorite porn scenario.
Yeah, this is like literally one of the first few things I wrote for Korak was he had a thing for dark elves. So 3 years later, we're
True.
there now.
There's 4 dark.
Yeah, four dark elves wielding, dressed to the teeth with weapons and armor, step around this pile of skulls, and they're like, "Who are you, and why do you have 2 dead bodies?"
My name is Landis, and this is my friend Webby. He passed away, and I have a thing of not dealing with reality very well, and I have a problem of not letting go.
That was honest of you. Wow. All right. Okay. What? Why are you here? What are you doing here? How did you get here?
We
Who are
fell.
you?
We fell in a trap.
We listened to a rock that told us to do something, and we fell in here.
You fell into the Underdark? You didn't come here on purpose?
No, not intentionally. I mean, we kind of debated beating the drow, and then we ended up falling in here.
How do the drow like to be buried?
Oh,
Straightforward
jeez.
questions
Oh,
right
jeez.
now.
And I would very quickly try to show him that we already have a drow corpse. Like, he's not talking about that.
Gob says that and they go, and kind of like grab their swords and then they look at Corey and they go, ah. And kind of like, that's a strange question. Well, why don't you come with us? We'll, let's get this sorted out.
Could I ask you real quick, does the name Guayaka mean anything to you?
That means nothing to me. Is
Fuck.
that your favorite food or something like that? Maybe.
How about Tali?
Tali? No.
Fuck me, never mind, let's go. Sorry to...
He means that literally.
Oh god. He starts to walk away and he stops and he's like, "All right, I'm sorry. I have bad manners. My name's Lurso," and he holds his hand out to shake.
I will handedly shake his hand.
And he kind of shakes it briskly, and he like kind of lets go, and he just like eyes the rest of you. And then he's like, "This is my field marshal, Sinet, my lieutenant Ibjur, and Yevrek." Now that he's introduced everyone, he says, "Let's get you somewhere a little more secure, I guess, and we can talk about these things. You just come with me." And as he's walking away, as he begins like leading you guys away, he starts asking you. He's like, "So, now that you've mentioned falling in here, can I ask, did you hear a voice on your Stone of Far speech claiming to be Paccard? I'm guessing."
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens sometimes. It seems
Good to know. Maybe you guys should put up some signs or something for next time.
we don't get a lot of people, and they're always hostile. So this is the first time that we've had to deal with someone who hasn't tried to attack us outright. The sign, if you will, the sign that we left was the pile of skulls at the front, and that didn't seem to bother you a whole lot. So I'm guessing you've seen some stuff.
These are corpses of our friends who departed not very long ago.
And as he's walking, you guys start seeing people kind of on the outskirts. Like, you have these, I guess for you two, just with kind of at the edge of where the light kind of stops, you're like seeing these dark, shadowy figures. The rest of you guys, like, even though you have dark vision, you're kind of having trouble, like, really making out these people. But you can tell that none of them really look super friendly. Like, their posture is kind of hunched and doesn't look super friendly. And as you're walking, one of them actually sort of steps up a little bit closer, and you hear this whisper says, "We don't want your kind here." And Lurtso sort of keeps walking.
Which way to Walmart?
He kind of keeps walking as though he doesn't notice. So, you said that you had two friends die. What brings you out here? Why did you bring your friends here? Is there... Well, other than, I guess, being lured by a voice, why are you on the Path of Graves?
I'm certain you're familiar with the terrain up top, right?
Sure.
Well, somehow, through magics, we ended up at Gravenhold, and have tried to find our way out.
Ravenhold. He kind of stops, and I want you to make an perception check. Specifically, Roran. He's like, yes, Gravenhold, and you kind of see him go... He licks his lips just a little bit. Another shadowy figure kind of steps up and says, "Are you looking to die today?"
Oh, we're with him.
Lurso kind of looks back and then just keeps walking. So what was in Gravenhold? Other than being magic there.
A lot of death and destruction. Trying to get away.
There are a lot of scholars that live there.
No.
Wizards.
I'm just like, there's at least one wizard here and tend to pursue knowledge. And another shadowy figure kind of steps up, and then you hear this one say, "Control kills are all you are, you filthy scum."
That was so cold.
That's a microaggression.
Someone just say microaggression.
Yeah, we're the closest.
Who's that?
You ever heard of the Jinn Liberators?
Are you looking for Jinn? And like they all kind of stop walking for a second and like look back at you.
Always.
Looking for the Jinn?
Yes.
Well then, I think we have a lot to discuss.
God.
Are we going to the discussion hall, or where?
Oh yes, yes. We don't. Look, I'm aware that rumors above ground are not nice to us, but yes, we are going to talk. Not leading you somewhere to kill you.
Okay, we better do something.
You can roll insight on him if you want. There's another shadow that leans in and says, "Mind your own business, outsider."
And I'm sorry, these are like. Can we not even discern that these are drow saying this?
They,
Just like,
they are very drow-like in shape. It's
Like-
hard to like focus on them.
So
are we like walking down a hall? So
No, you're still outside.
okay.
Outside of the city.
For all we know, it could be the mind flayers with psychic stuff. That's why I'm paranoid.
You're like trying to look around at things, and like all of a sudden something kind of breaches into your vision, and it's another one of those shadow elves, and it says, "Flay you alive" is what I'd like to do.
I'm going to uncover the blindfold, but Frumpkin just kind of brushes up against me and tries to calm me down.
They're leading you kind of around the backside of the spire.
Just go back up to the surface.
Oh, it connects. Surely it connects with the surface. We've just used kind of the bottom 200 levels. You know, the first half of it maybe, but we don't. We were concerned about making it too structurally weak, so we didn't dig up a whole lot further. This is all, of course, going back years and years. You hear out from the shadow elves. You hear someone shout, "Kill you all one day. You'll see."
Okay, I'm gonna turn in the direction of where that came from.
It's just kind of a seething, like, mass of shadowy figures. It's hard to discern exactly where.
So it's a crowd of dark elves.
Yeah, sort of. It looks more like a moving, like a ocean wave.
Interesting.
It's very hard to pick out an individual.
Okay.
What was your question?
We're seeking Jinn.
Jinn, right? Yes, back to the
Do you
Jinn.
know
I'm
anything,
sorry.
or do we need to be
We are going to take you to our archives where we can start. Like, it's no secret Paccard was looking for the Jinn. It's strange that you'd be here looking for the Jinn too. Most of the people who end up here aren't looking for the Jinn; they're looking for treasures that they were promised.
We're not trying to take any treasure. We just want to know more about the Jinn.
And then you hear them keeping you alive for now, so we can all eat you later.
How about I eat your face?
Are you shouting at the guy?
Yeah, I'm getting tired of it.
Is that true? You guys gonna eat us?
If you say, "Is that true?" Are you going to eat us?
Yeah, I was like, hey, so this
Oh.
is the third person that threatened us. Or what? Are you gonna?
He turns around and he's like, "We're not going to eat you."
I was just trying to perceive if he was being truthful or not.
Oh yeah. Everything that he's telling you seems very earnest. You don't get the impression he's directly lying to you.
So can we see the people that are like coming up and like yelling at us or whatever?
You can't. It's very hard to distinguish individuals unless they are like actually sort of walking up close to you. The closer that you get to the spire, the less that they start approaching you, and the more it's become shouting. And in fact, you now hear 3 separate things come from the crowd. One says, "To the hells with you coming into our home," and another one says, "Say you're begging for someone who cares." And another person says, "All of you getting what you deserve."
You still can't discern like an individual behind each word.
So are the guys leading us not able to hear this? Are we hallucinating this? I'm wondering.
They are not reacting in any way.
The vulture.
I'm gonna keep staring ahead and following.
Korak,
We have a problem.
come back. Come back.
And as you guys are kind of walking, Gob, your dagger makes like a ringing sound that everyone hears, right? Like it's been struck on metal, right? Like a tuning fork kind of ringing sound. And then you hear a whisper that says, "The first words are most important."
Oh my god.
I knew it.
Do you want me to read you the first words? Who wants to read the first words? We are controlled, mind flayed, build unto save all.
Oh. Oh shit! I knew it was mind flayers.
What did Landis roll on insight when he said they weren't
go in like
16?
10 minutes.
Although if they're mind flayed, they're telling the truth.
He's like,
And what are they doing? They're still just leading us towards the spire.
And I'm gonna slowly kind of uncover the blindfold and
this will help.
Oh no, they're not looking at me. They're leading us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. I got that. See them.
We need to kill the mind flayer, not the drow.
Yeah.
To free the drow.
So you think what we're hearing is this their consciousness breaking through the mind plane?
Well, all these messages came from the crowd that we couldn't really see. I think they're basically disguised slaves and serfs, basically, and what we're following are mind flayers in disguise. That's what I'm thinking.
Let me tell you about the time that Paccard arrived in the Underdark.
When was that again?
It's quite a while ago. This story has been passed down through generations. Paccard brought his group of deserters down into this Underdark, and they were not nice. With the rest of our entire city, our entire world mainly, in an upheaval, there was a civil war of sorts. And he came down with his deserters and took advantage of everyone that he could.
Who did he desert?
Not Paccard. The people that helped him were deserters. They were supposed to fight for us. And they left. And when everyone was out of here, fighting on the front, they came back and brought him. Paccard had it in his mind to rear as many Dark Elf children as he could and send them out into the world to do his bidding. And he set it up in a way that was sure to be success. I'm sure you know, and he's pointing at Tali's body, he's like, that there are Dark Elf people out of the world. They were essentially meant to be sleeper agents. Half elf, half dark elf, half human. Trying to fit in with the rest of the world. It seemed like a good plan to him. Unfortunately for him, we came back and put a stop to it. His plan for his children was to send them out to find the gym. That's why he came here also. It was one of the reasons why he came here, was to find information on the gym. To get them, to bring them here, and to offer them to Ichabod. But, like I said, we put a stop to him, so that's that.
Well, cool. We'll be on our way then.
Well met. Toodles.
Danny, I want you to roll an investigation check with advantage.
22.
Who was the second person to like roaring? Go ahead and roll investigation with advantage.
I'll take that 18.
Who was next?
So I think it would have been
Gob. Or Axel.
Axel, but then probably Gob.
Steven, you're up.
21.
Mike. Wow. God. Who am I talking to? Chris, can you please roll an investigation with advantage, please? Alright, Aaron.
26.
26. Correct. You wake up. You open your eyes. And you see a small crowd of dark elves who are crowding around you, saying things like, "Wake up," and "There's mind flayers here," and "They're controlling us," and things like that. They're whispering to you, and you look up, and then you feel a pinch on the back of your head.
Oh, fuck that. With my history, I am immediately going to jump and scream bloody murder. Since I'm getting flashbacks to that dungeon.
You jump up, and you rip a tendril that was attaching to the back of your head, and you turn and you see the rest of the party laying unconscious on the ground next to a pile of skulls that are illithid skulls, mind flayer skulls, not human skulls. And there are, four different mind flayers. What do you do?
Well, are there mouths attached to the back of their head?
No, just like these weird little tendrils that are coming off.
So
they're not like currently eating you.
So the tendrils are like coming out of their bodies, and they're just like
out of their mouths, like attaching to the back of your head.
On each of the party members?
Yeah.
So there's total of how many mind flayers?
There's only 4 mind flayers.
Okay.
Some of them have multiple tendrils coming out.
Korak hits tab and he consults his spells. Okay, so I'm going to describe what I want to do, and you're going to tell me yes or no, or if
Okay.
I have to roll.
Go ahead. I love it.
I am going to immediately sprint towards the closest one and bring the Maul of Garrisil, which I want to see. I want to make it very clear they know what this Maul is, as I try to bring it into the one who's in front of me. But as I'm running to hit him with the Maul, I want to cast Eldritch Blast, which will split into 3 separate blasts to hit the other 3 Mind Flayers. What do I need to do to accomplish this?
Roll your attack with the maul. Roll your 3 attacks with the Eldritch Blast.
That's going to be a 25 to hit with the Maul,
Yeah.
and then each blast is going to...
At least 2 of those hit. So you're able to you smash 1 with the maul, you hit 2 others with the Eldritch Blast.
Okay.
And the third one, while it misses the Mind Flare itself, it will sever the tendrils
Okay.
that are attaching to the backs of everyone's head. So everyone now opens their eyes and realizes that they're not standing on the other side of the spire, but that you are laying on the ground. And to add to that, as you're looking up at the ceiling, you realize that there is a hole in the ceiling from where you fell in.
How deep is this hole?
Very deep.
A couple hundred feet. So are we fighting? Or
Yeah,
can I
this
do
is
something
where
else?
we roll initiative. Okay, so the first Mind Flare is going to kind of bring itself up to height once it realizes what's happened, and it's going to look in the direction of Gob. And Gob, I need you to make a intelligence saving throw.
Oh, here it comes.
That is a nat 1.
Wild magic.
And yes, your aglets of wild magic have procced. Oh my god. Gob. Okay, here's what happens.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna make this interesting. I'm gonna make this flavorful. Gob, the Mind Flare looks at you, its eyes glow a sick yellow color, and you're immediately reminded of an image of your mother with glowing yellow eyes. And you are going to take 24 damage because you're hit with Mind Blast. You're going to grab your head, because the searing pain, like, in addition, you're hit with this mind wave, right? This blast. And then when you bring your hands away, you have a third eye in the middle of your forehead.
Whoa.
I remember this one.
And you know what? Just for the heck of it, let's say it has dark vision. Now that's done, we're going to go to Gob's turn.
I
Let's do it.
unsheath my dagger, and then I disappear, and I cast Steel Wind Strike.
Are you teleporting next to them and just like, "Wah!" and then like teleporting to the next guy?
Basically,
Are you
there's
doing like,
a
oh my
whirlwind.
wow, Lord, no.
You just see wind, you just see a dagger stab one, and then it disappears again. It's, yeah.
Okay, Korak.
I think Korak gives like a really, like, after Korak, like, felt pretty good about, like, breaking through the illusion, whacking one with a hammer, hitting the other 2 with Eldritch Blast, missing one, being like, that's right, guys. But then I see Gob just do this fucking Assassin's Creed shit, and I'm just like, oh wow. And so I'll just cast Eldritch Blast. So I am going to use Grasp of Hatter with that as an Eldritch Invocation, so it's going to pull him 10 feet towards me. So if Ignis would like, you can make an attack of opportunity.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh! Wow.
Hoofa doofa.
I think that Ignis. How do you kill it? How does it die?
Chop its head off.
Yes.
You just
Sweep.
you just like extend your axe as it gets pulled into the axe.
Clothesline.
Oh man. Awesome. The Mind Flare on the far right is going to look at Rorin. And Rorin, I need you to make an intelligence saving throw. Alright, you're good. Nothing happens. You feel a cold chill pass through you. Landis, it is your turn.
Do we want to continue fighting these guys, or if we had a way out, would you guys want to do it?
Oh, I want to kill these suckers.
Do you want to should we just say that they die so I can read my monologue to you?
Let's all roll collective roll.
I feel bad because I did say 9 as hard. I don't want to, because I know what it's like to have to wake up. So you guys killed the Mind Flayers. Woo! Congratulations, you solved my puzzle. You guys all pass out from a psychic shock, and then you wake up and you're being tended to by crisp, in-focus dark elves. They tell you very briefly of a time when Paccard met a group of them on the surface. An elf named Westrel, an elf named Tanis, an elf named Rigby, and an elf named Garby. There was hundreds of others as well, and Paccard heard their tale about the mind flayers that had taken over the Underdark and led them in their last-ditch effort to save their mind-controlled kin. There was a handful of the Dark Elves that stayed on the surface who were too weak to go back and fight, and those are who you got. The descendants who you have all met are people from that group who stayed on the surface and left. They sped out to other lands in an attempt to keep their people alive. Paccard was promised as much information as he wanted that the Underdark libraries had on the Jinn if he could help them with this task. They were making really good progress. They killed a lot of the less adept Illithids, which is where the pile of skulls comes from. They made a charge into the Underdark. It was simple enough, it was very bloody, and then the 5 most powerful of the Illithid masterminds came out of their tower and destroyed Paccard and his friends. They ate their brains out of Westrel, Tanis, Garvey, and Rigby. There was a 5th. I said 4. Huh? I said the 5 most powerful Illithids. So the 5th one was the female. This is where I get a little dark, and I apologize in advance. But the female Illithid forcefully took Paccard's seed and gave birth to what looked like a human baby boy. Mother died during childbirth. It was a messy affair. And when all was said and done, the stone that she had sat on while she gave birth was stained red, and the child was named Ryle Redstone, which is not a name that you've heard. But this is the story that the Dark Elves are sort of relaying to you. The fate of Paccard, why the Jinn library is devoured since Korak knows the Illithid were working for Ickabar once upon a time. The word Ickabar doesn't really mean a whole lot to the people down there. They don't know it immediately, but they do shiver when you say it. And that's all I have planned. So,
who is this child? It's creepy.
Redstone. Super creepy, right?
Nice.
Ryle Redstone. And actually, I'll throw that in too.
That's pretty fun.